asked you to dance, would you say yes?
Hi, and welcome to the Stripology podcast. I'm your host, Wendy, experienced dancer, mindset and strategy coach, and founder of the Industry Academy. This industry completely transformed my life, and I've coached hundreds of women to do the same. Through my signature framework of sales, mindset, and confidence, I help dancers of all experience levels who are inspired to master their craft and maximize their income. In this podcast, I will share with you my personal journey and the skills I learned that helped me to lift my financial ceiling, cultivate confidence, and quadruple my income on a consistent basis. Thank you so much for being here. Let's get into it.
If I asked you to dance.
Hello, thanks for tuning in. I'm Wendy, your host, Stripology podcast, as you would probably know. Hope you've had an amazing week, and whatever you're up to right now, if you're getting ready for work, then this episode might interest you. This is something that I would have loved to know in my journey in stripping. It's about top earners, and it's something that always intrigued me. I was like, how the fuck do they do it? And I feel like the last several years of my career, definitely everything fell into place. Really felt, like the mystery got unraveled. And yeah, I want to share with you three things that all top earners have in common. So there's a fuckload of other things, right? But these are three things that I would say every top earner is going to have in common, amongst other things. So some other things might be, money being at a really high value, maybe an underlying driver for the need to really succeed. There's other things that really come into play. But I found, as I found myself, becoming a top earner and sort of maintaining that over time, that these are three things that never wavered, and sometimes what will get you here won't get you there. So I have an episode on that as well. So sometimes things that really drive you to become or want to become a top earner, sometimes they get conquered and then other things come into play. But in order to maintain it, these are three things that really, really help to maintain being and remaining a top earner. So number one is an extremely hard work ethic. This all sort of comes into play because as things get easier, work gets easier, it's also easier to work more. It's easier to maintain a really hard work ethic. And it's also, I guess, as your earnings increase, the reward is increased. So it kind of all spirals in this upward direction, which, even though it is a really, a lot of hard work, it's also easier than earlier on, when there's not such a big reward and, you still have to work hard. So maintaining this hard work ethic, really involves having steadfast personal goals and personal standards. So, to keep that motivation and the momentum going, to have an easeful, but high workload, really having those personal goals and personal standards in place, that's something that you will see across the board. So, even if nights are difficult, things like not giving up, working a lot, knowing and understanding that the more that you work, obviously, the more money you're going to make, generally, especially if you're in a sort of like a high caliber sort of flow. But also more data you're going to collect. You're going to have more experiences, you're going to have more situations where you learn how to overcome them, where you learn how to pivot, all of those things. So the more you work, the easier it actually gets. You really get into that flow. And so that's something that you would likely see across the board with really high earners. They're really likely to work really, really often and have a really high standard, personal standard of the way that they work, the way that they show up, and all of the things that really help to fuel them to maintain that high that top earning status. So that really falls under the umbrella of extremely hard work ethic, treating work as a business. So not just looking at not looking at it as just a night out or, like a fun thing to do, see the girlfriends, see if it goes well or not, but really treating it as a business, knowing that you are the person that is going to create the results, no questions asked. And whatever you can do to make sure that this business is running really fluidly and really profitably, that's the way that it's looked at. Debriefing at the end of work, looking at ways that you could have improved, not seeing them as failures, but just seeing them as an opportunity to learn, all of that kind of thing really helps us to maintain a really high earning status and really maintaining that over the years. So looking at it really responsibly, this is a business, looking at different ways that you can make the business work for you as well. So that might look like, educating yourself. That might look like getting support outside of work. That might look like, having some friends that you can debrief with, all of the things, but really treating it as, a business with many moving parts and keeping those parts nice and oiled up. And so it can just help things be more flow and more run smoothly, so anyone that owns a business, is always looking at ways that they can improve the business, ways that they can make it work, more efficiently, more profitably. And we can do that in the stripping arena. We can really do that. But we need to put our mind to it and look at it in a responsible way, and also look at it in the long term. How can this business support me in my life, and how can I support this business as well in its life? So that can look like prepping for work outside of work. So, I've talked in a lot of episodes and also in a lot of my coaching in the academy, the concept of really doing a lot of groundwork outside of work to make work more easeful. So I always use the analogy, top sports players, they don't just rock up to the game and hope to play well. They really train, they really make sure that they are showing up prepared and as prepared as they possibly can be. You never know really what's going to unfold, but as long as you know that you have prepared to the best of your ability, then that's what you're in control of, and that's what's important to look at. So looking at all the ways that you can prep outside of work, and that in my eyes, and many other people that I've worked with that maintain a really top earning status, I guess, is looking at all of the things that are going to support you whilst you're at work. So and that's all areas of life. That's like, health, rest, mindset, if you need to iron out different ironing beliefs, limiting beliefs, different things that come up time and time again that can act as roadblocks, really actively working at those things just to make things more easeful. Preparing your outfits, preparing your food, structuring your day so it supports your lead up to work, so you're not showing up, feeling tired or all of the things. If you need a nap, that's something that I always needed, making sure that I have time for a nap ready for before when I go into work, so really looking at all areas of life and how they actually impact you as a whole is really, really important to help support maintaining a really hard work ethic. And not just working hard, but also knowing and understanding that that hard work actually leads to a more easeful experience whilst you're at work. And so that really supports you to be able to show up more often, do longer hours, and not even really notice it, allowing yourself to make more money week after week after week. So there is a lot that goes into it. And obviously, if work and money is high in our priorities, high in our values and belief systems, then that's really going to help as well to fuel that machine. So number 2 is a really strong self-belief and mindset. So like I've mentioned in previous podcasts, number one thing I had to work on was my mindset, really ironing out that self-doubt and teaching myself how to back myself to the point that it was almost delusional, probably was delusional. But at the end of the day, even though that might not be healthy in life in general, it's okay in a strip club because it's a fantasy world. So we can show up how we want. We can have fun with it how we want. It can almost become a game. And we need to allow our mindset to back ourselves. So no matter what comes up, we still have our own back. We still believe that we can make the most of any situation, no matter how frustrating, no matter how annoying, no matter how difficult, still having your back. And, like you would want to do to a best friend or a partner that you want to see succeed, talking to yourself in that way, like, doesn't matter, keep going, go get it. Like, whatever you need to hear, reframing everything, even if something feels or seems like a roadblock, understanding that, okay, how can I work with this? What did I learn from this? How can I pivot? All of the things. So really having that mindset looked at and worked out to the point that it is fully backing you. Because if you're not backing yourself, it's almost unfair to lean on people around us whilst we're at work to, support us. It's okay, of course, and people, can do that, but sometimes we've got a limited capacity. So we need to expand our own capacity and have enough space for ourselves to really back ourselves, so we're not overflowing onto everyone around us and allowing our emotions to kind of take over and take the best of us away. And so we really need to look at mindset, and I guarantee that all top earners have got a really strong self-belief because they've got the evidence there. They've got the evidence that even if it is a difficult week, month, night, whatever, they've made it work before. So not falling into those, letting the external circumstances affect their self-belief. It's already like strong Teflon strength, so it's we're not outsourcing for that that strength or that reassurance, that's already within. So that is something that's so important to work on. If you feel like that's something that kind of is a challenge for you, then really looking at, strengthening that self-belief and that mindset, because that is going to be your biggest driver, really. That drives everything. The ability to see the silver lining in everything. So if things are tough, like I was just saying, not falling into the trap of poor me, or like, why is this happening? This is so shit, gossiping about that, but rather, what can I learn from this? Like, how can I work with this? How can I just stay ready so I don't need to get ready? And all of the things that we know that work. So super important to keep this in mind and keeping a positive outlook. So again, this always looks like backing yourself, that self-trust is there. Because we have that evidence of, things are going to work out. If not that night, keep that consistency up. It's gonna even out by the end of the week. If we keep that positive mindset, keep backing ourselves, keep showing up, keep working it to the best of our ability, it's always going to even out. And so keeping that positive outlook is really, really important. And again, this ties back into work ethic, that having that self-belief really keeps your energy. And so it helps, just keep that ball rolling, understanding that that's what's needed. They all tie in together. And that there's enough evidence to trust that we have, that we can just keep going and it's going to pan out. So that self-trust also spills out into trusting the external environment more. Like, the more we trust ourselves, the more we trust life, the more we trust that things are going to pan out. They're not going to crumble. If we just keep showing up and keep doing our best, then things are likely going to have their ups and downs sometimes, but overall have an upward trajectory. I always find that word hard to say. Okay, Number 3 of this list with, 3 things that top earners all have in common is versatility. So again, if you look around the club, if you see top earners, you might notice that they are able to approach absolutely anyone, doesn't matter who, anyone and everybody. That's a really important point. So this versatility, this ability and openness and willingness to relate and connect with a wide variety of customers, not allowing that doubt to creep in, not allowing that judgment to creep in and, stand back and play small, but just that willingness to, without a second thought, call next person, next person, next person, and just being as versatile as possible. Versatility really, really supports maintaining a high income. If you've listened to the previous, not previous, but one of my previous podcast episodes, maintaining a consistent high income, you'll know that I talk a lot about versatility. But versatility in your hustle as well, that willingness to pivot, that willingness to kind of mold yourself, that willingness to fit in with the person that's in front of you, that willingness to connect with them and bring that part of your personality that matches in with their kind of personality they're displaying, or that they might be comfortable with or might be seeking or whatever, but really bringing that out of yourself and matching that with your customer. So versatility in the hustle as well, so that our hustles can be so versatile. It's not just, this is the way I do it and this is what works for me. But sometimes, we might have our favorite style of hustle, but it's not going to fit in with the greater public. So really having that versatility, and not only the versatility, but the willingness to bring versatility into our hustle is super important. And it's definitely an ingredient to being a top earner and maintaining that. So also speaking to anyone and everyone, I'm just reading my notes. And the versatility to pivot on the spot, depending on the dynamic with each customer. So really bringing that versatility into play. And if that's something, again, that you struggle with, looking at, okay, who are the people that I'm comfortable with talking to? Who are the people that I'm less comfortable talking to? And making the effort to bring that into your comfort zone. So having that courage to do that, and it might feel clunky at first, but it's worth it. It's worth it to push yourself and to expand your comfort zone so it incorporates everybody. Willingness to work solo, willingness to work in groups or in pairs, willingness to approach people that are solo, people that are in groups. There's endless different situations that we're going to come up with. And it's that versatility that's needed to bring to the table to, really connect with our customers, because that is such an important ingredient as well, to form a strong connection in a matter of seconds, actually. And being open to doing that with anyone and everyone, that is such an important key ingredient to being a top earner. So like I said at the start, there are many more other things, but these are 3 key ingredients to that all top earners will have in common. And then looking at your own hustle and saying, okay, am I showing up with an extremely hard work ethic? Do I have a strong belief, self-belief mindset? Am I backing myself? Am I on my own team? And am I being versatile? Am I willing to approach anyone and everyone? And if I do feel uncomfortable doing that, being willing and open to work on that, because it is possible. I know it's possible because I've worked with hundreds of people, and I've also, in my coaching, worked with bringing that versatility to the hustle and to their comfort zone. And also for myself as well, in my own experience, really having to work at that, but knowing that it's going to pay off, and it certainly did. So I hope this episode was really helpful for you. If you're getting ready for work, go in and smash it. And if any of these things need working on, then I invite you to give it a little challenge tonight or whenever you listen to this, and from there on into the future, so you can really strengthen your skill set, make the most of your career, make as much money as possible, and have as much fun and ease whilst you do it. All right, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I would love to hear from you if you resonated with it. And I would love to hear what really stood out for you. If you have any questions, please reach out. If you want to share this with anybody, please do. I would love to see if you enjoyed it, tag me on socials. And yeah, I'll see you next week.